Okay, hello everybody and welcome. We've got a Mario Kart 64 150cc skips tournament race for you. This is between SuperViperT302 and NoHarmony. Both of these players finished with a 2-2 win-loss record coming out of the group stages, and this then is a playoff match. The winner of this will progress to the knockout stages. The loser will be eliminated from the tournament. Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Somebody's posted in chat that I must be muted. I'm not muted. So first thing you'll notice is that NoHarmony is just going to sit and wait for 25 seconds. This is a kind of a penalty we apply to players who are playing on emulator. Emulator basically has no lag. We calculated that the average lag for a console run is about 25 seconds, so as soon as his time hits 25 seconds, NoHarmony will begin. So first track is Luigi Raceway. There's a whole variety of ways you can play this in terms of different skips. I expect SuperViper will be going for the blue shell skip. So coming down the road, there's an airship dropping on SuperViper's side. That airship always carries a blue shell in its item. Looks like we're just getting a quick sync up. So SuperViper now has a blue shell, and they're going to use that blue shell just as they cross the finish line on lap 2. And because they're in first place, the blue shell will fly forwards and then come backwards and hit them. They'll knock them up in the air, and they'll use it to knock themselves over the left-hand side. And depending what version of the game they're playing, Japanese or US, will depend on what happens. So SuperViper's fallen through the tunnel. That means they're playing on the US version. There's no collision detection on the tunnel in the US version. So they skip essentially half a lap and will be coming around to finish their race. NoHarmony also has a blue shell. We'll see what they do. So I think they're playing the Japanese version, but don't do the checkpoint messing up. So they actually launch themselves over the wall. On the Japanese version, if you launch yourself to the tunnel, you get stuck on top of the tunnel. You can do a kind of warp using that, but you have to mess up specific checkpoints in the game. NoHarmony just drives on a bit further and goes over a wall. It's quite a smart thing to do, to be honest. Both players moving on to Moo Farm. Moo Farm doesn't have any shortcuts at all, so just a case of driving around, trying not to hit the moles, trying not to hit all the random bananas that the CPUs love to drop all over the place. Typically you'll see the very best players getting a time of about 1 minute 10. The very good players getting like 112s and 113s. But really anything 115 or better is more than acceptable. The amount of time you can lose on these kind of no shortcut tracks is really quite small compared to the amount of time you can lose on the skips tracks just by missing a single skip. Though I would say every second you lose on a non-shortcut track feels like you've lost 10 seconds on it. It just hurts a lot more for some reason. At least that's how I feel. So just to reiterate, anyone who came in slightly late to the broadcast, this is a matchup between two players who came out of the 4 rounds of Swiss with a 2-win 2-loss record. There are 6 players who had a 2-2 record, and they've been paired off against each other. And the 3 winners will progress to the knockout stages, and the 3 losers will be eliminated from the tournament. So at the moment, SuperViper and NoHarmony are playing for one of the last 3 spots in the top 8. NoHarmony there with a 113 Moo Farm. That's pretty decent. SuperViper moves on to Koopa Troopa Beach. This is a track we call no shortcuts, though there is quite obviously a shortcut in it as you jump off the ramp and go into the cave. But we class this as non-shortcut because we view it as being an intended alternate route rather than a skip. See if SuperViper's going for an 8th place item. Glitch gets it. So there's a badly mapped polygon just to the right of the start line, where if you trigger an item when you're in that polygon for a very brief period, just a frame or two, the game thinks you're in 8th place, and so you can essentially get an 8th place item when you're in 1st, which is how SuperViper got a star. NoHarmony went for it and missed it. Wow. So SuperViper missed their tunnel jump and had to go for a backup, but they got their backup. It's lost them a good chunk of time, but it's not terrible. Probably about 8 seconds lost by missing that jump. See how NoHarmony does, going for their 8th place item. Didn't get it, they got a boot. So whenever you're doing these 8th place item glitches, really what you're wanting to get is a star. Star is the most beneficial of the speed items. And so SuperViper gets a 1:30, but NoHarmony should be catching up probably close to 10 seconds here. He gets a 1:21, so made up about 8.5 seconds or so. And I say made up, so because NoHarmony's playing on emulator, the emulator has no lag, which is why we saw NoHarmony starting 25 seconds after SuperViper, or rather starting their timer and then waiting for 25 seconds before they began the race. It's a penalty we apply to emulator players. However, if this match does finish super close, within a few seconds, we will actually refer back to the sum of the in-game times for each of the tracks, because the 25-second penalty we apply to emulator is just kind of an average estimate. It's not exact. We only ever do the in-game time check for matches which involve one person on console and one person on emulator. Oh, NoHarmony, that has gone horribly wrong. So SuperViper's got a star, which is probably the easiest and the thing that you're wanting the most. So SuperViper can use that star to skip an entire lap, or drive into the tunnel here on the left. They'll cross over the finish line in the tunnel. Lakitu tells them to reverse. They turn around, activate the star, recross the finish line, and it triggers a lap skip. That only works on laps 1 and 2, so don't try it on lap 3, otherwise you'll just have wasted time driving into a tunnel. There are other skips that you can do on this using shells, which I assume is what NoHarmony was doing when they were in the tunnel at that time. But if you miss the shell jump, you basically find yourself stranded in the tunnel and having to turn around. So it's going to be quite a big time loss for NoHarmony. Thankfully they did get the star, at least in the end. So SuperViper onto Dod's Turnpike. This is a track where all sorts of broken glitches have been found in the last week or so. For anyone who follows the time trial scene, you'll have probably seen about 200 world records being set at various stages on this track in the last few days. It's been absolutely crazy. And 200 is probably a bit of an overstatement, but anyone who visits the mkworldrecords.com page will see that the homepage is absolutely flooded with world records for this track. So SuperViper is just going for the traditional shortcut. Armin's the same, going for the traditional shortcut. It's like both of them have got it pretty much straight away. So both players are going to have a very good traditional Toast Turnpike time. We'll be looking at something between 1:30 and 1:40. Sorry, Kyle, that's you got to put the former in there. So, yep, both players did get the traditional skip on Toast Turnpike, absolutely spot on. So, depending on if they hit any traffic or hit any CPU items, we should see anything from about a 1:30 to a 1:35. Looks like SuperViper's hit a few things along the way. Lost a few seconds here, but still going to come around with a 139. Again, anything sub 140 is really good here. NoHarmony collects a fake item box. If you see an item box in the middle of the road, it's pretty much going to be a trap every time. Don't go picking it up, you're not going to get anything good out of it. So anytime NoHarmony could really have saved on this track, basically he's gone now and he's going to get an almost identical time. Maybe 2 seconds quicker, 1 or 2 seconds quicker. So SuperViper's on perhaps Snowland. This is one of the more well-known shortcuts. You just drive back to the bridge, jump from the bridge to the snow, cross the finish line in the snow, go out of bounds, and Lakitu basically walks you an entire lap forward. Repeat a couple of more times, and then drive to the finish line. The race should be over in about 30 seconds or so. SuperViper gets a 30. See how NoHarmony does. The big danger on this track is being a bit greedy and trying to get back into the snow a bit too fast, hitting the road, and it won't count the lap. That's why NoHarmony just reversed back a little bit there. It's all worked fine for NoHarmony, so they'll cross the finish line also with a 30 seconds. So on to Choco Mountain, another pretty broken track. There's two main shortcuts you'll see the players going for here. There's the kind of big jump, so just after these item boxes, see SuperViper is going to ram into the wall and try and bounce over. Absolutely beautifully executed there. That's my favourite looking shortcut in the entire game, especially when you get it really clean like SuperViper just did. And there's also what we call a backup shortcut, where if you don't make that big jump, you then drive on a little bit further and bounce up over the road. Oh wow! SuperViper clean over again. That's absolutely brilliant. NoHarmony going for what we know as the backup shortcut there. Gets it pretty quickly there. Only going to lose a couple of seconds. Let's see if SuperViper can go 3 out of 3. Come on. You can make that jump. Make that jump. Ah. 2 clean jumps. Let's see if SuperViper can get a quick backup. Nope. Gonna back up and triple tap at it. So you might hear people say triple A or triple tap when talking about Mario Kart 64. There's a mechanic in the game where if you're ever at low speed, don't just hold the accelerator. Give it a quick triple tap. So you go tap, 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 and then hold it. And you'll get back up to full speed a lot quicker than just by holding the accelerator. And you'll see the runners doing that a fair bit on shortcuts where they stop, turn, line up at something. You'll see they'll go from almost stationary to almost full speed very quickly. And they're achieving that through triple tapping the accelerator. So tap, 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 hold. One of the more useful things to note, especially if you play multiplayer with your friends. If you ever get hit by something, just keep tapping that accelerator and then give it a quick press, and bang, you'll be up to full speed again. So let's see if either player sandbagging for reds. No. SuperViper not going for an 8th place item glitch either. I can't blame either player for playing this track entirely non-shortcut. There are shortcuts on it, but they're difficult and you can lose a lot of time. So NoHarmony went for an 8th place item glitch, got the 8th place item glitch by riding up the tunnel a little bit. But unfortunately for them, they got a blue shell. They were looking for a star or golden mushroom. So yeah, triple tap, it's only really applicable to the 3 lightweights, Toad, Yoshi and Peach, and also to Bowser. Every character does have a triple tap, but most of the other characters the triple tap is not powerful, so it barely registers. SuperViper, you see resets as soon as they finish the cup. We don't make players sit through the awards ceremony, which can take quite a long time. So as long as you're in the top 4 when you finish the final track of the cup, i.e. in a position where you'd progress through to the awards ceremony, you can just instantly reset, go through the menus, choose your next cup. Onto Wario Stadium, a track which can be done in 20 odd seconds or a minute and a half. And sometimes it just seems like complete RNG as to whether that wall will let you over or not. So SuperViper's on his second lap. That's a very nice 6 second second lap by SuperViper. Can we get a sub 30 seconds? Oh, just tumbled. Oh. NoHarmony's moved on to their final lap, onto their second lap, just as SuperViper finishes the race. 38 seconds, it could have been a little quicker, but most people in this tournament would take a 38-second Wario Stadium if you offered it to them. NoHarmony's going to be losing some time on Wario Stadium. If they make it over quick, it won't be too much of a loss, but needs to get over, does get over with a 51. Is it possible to triple tap too quickly? Well, we have somebody in chat saying they think it is. I honestly don't know. I know there are some tracks which eat your inputs, so on tracks like Wario Stadium, especially in GP, any track where there's uneven ground, I don't just triple tap, I like 5 tap or 6 tap. Because uneven surfaces just seem to have a habit of eating your inputs. So you can triple tap and go and it just won't go. So on flat ground, triple tap usually is very safe, but if you're on uneven ground, maybe give it 5 or 6 quick taps before holding it. So Sherbetland is, again, it's a non-shortcut track. There's no known humanly viable shortcuts for this track. There's some quite clever Taz stuff, but we're not going to see any of that. The penguins are all on cycles, so as long as you don't mess up, like we see SuperViper hitting that fake item there, you should have a good indication of where the penguins are. If you start hitting things and the penguins get kind of off cycle, you don't know where you are in regards to their cycle, it can get quite difficult. Though, to be honest, as long as you're not too risky, you can get through these sections without hitting the penguins, irrespective of where the cycles are. So SuperViper finishes with a 141. It's probably about 4 or 5 seconds slower than they would have wanted on this track. But again, we did see them hit a fake item box, so that would make sense. NoHarmony looks like they're coming around with something like a 136, which is a very good time for this track. Just edges out to do a swag finish. Might have moved them just into the 137s. It's a Royal Raceway. This is another kind of skips test. So watch SuperViper's screen now. What they're going to do after coming around this corner is they're going to jump across the river, whack into the wall on the other side, just to the right of that polygon seam. And the game thinks you fell off the bridge, puts you to the top of the bridge. And once you're there, you have a choice. You can either go straight over it, like SuperViper just did, or you can launch yourself off a left on the ramp and do another shortcut, which saves very little time. Is probably worth doing, especially to avoid any kind of random CPU bananas on laps 2 and 3. So NoHarmony's going for the left off the ramp shortcut. It will probably save them about half a second. And one of the big advantages is that you kind of cut out a whole area of track where there can be bananas and fake items, where you can spin out and get into horrible situations miles away from the track and lose a lot of time. So both players having a very good Royal Raceway so far. For me, I kind of benchmark a good time at about 1 minute 45. So if you're getting around 144, 145, that means you've hit the shortcuts and you've not really messed up too badly. Obviously, you might see top players like Abney and Matthias going a bit faster just because of how fast they drive the rest of the track and how aggressive they'll go on some of the shortcuts. But anything in the 145 region is a really good Royal Raceway, and it means that pretty much everything went how you wanted it to. Super Viper gets a 146. Yeah, very good time. Move on. So NoHarmony has gone left off the ramp 3 times, gets set down. We'll cross the line in what looks like a 145. So catching about 1 second up. So in terms of accelerating from having no brakes, there's also a trick you can do when you're being put down by Lakitu. So if you've fallen off the track, either accidentally or deliberately, and Lakitu's placing you back down, if you hold accelerate at the right time, shortly before you get dropped back down onto the track, you'll basically get dropped down with quite a high speed and you'll go zipping off. It's a bit faster than being put down and then triple tapping. The only danger is if you start accelerating too soon, when Lakitu puts you down, you'll spin out and lose a bunch of time. So Bowser Castle is another non-shortcut track. It's possibly the most difficult of all of the non-shortcut tracks. The swamps are on cycles, but you tend to only really know the cycles of the swamps for when you've not made any mistakes. It's very difficult to know exactly where they're going to be if you made a 2-second mistake, a 3-second mistake, a 7-second mistake. And those kind of, I call them mistakes, but the CPUs have a really nasty kind of item usage on this track. They'll leave bananas and fake items in the worst possible positions, as you see both players just narrowly avoiding bananas as they rounded bends then. So it's quite easy to lose a bit of time slipping on a banana, and once the CPUs are in and amongst you, they really start to try on this track. They kind of aggro you, and they start flinging bananas and fake items all over the place. For all but the most skilled players, this track is always a challenge. You can see very good players ranking out here just because one thing went wrong on lap 3 and everything escalated very quickly. But we had a very good Bowser Castle from Super Viper, finishing in a 154. NoHarmony has also had a very good Bowser Castle. They're going to come around in what looks like about a 152. Maybe just sub, I'm not quite sure. Move on to the final cup. So just to remind you that this is a must-win match for both players. The winner will progress to the final 8, the loser will be eliminated. So, Donkey Kong Jungle Parkway, there's a trick where you clip here between a polygon which doesn't seem to have any real mapping to anything. Cross the finish line out of bounds, and then you can either clip back into the cave for a quick lap, or fall into the water and wait for Lakitu to put you back down for a slightly slower lap. When this track is done really well in GP skips, you'll see people like Abney doing it in probably like 35 seconds. Most players will just be happy to get it done in under a minute. If you're happy getting a time of about 1 minute, you can just purposely jump into the water all 3 laps and it's pretty much guaranteed. I think that was a strat possibly that NoHarmony was using. But given how fast they are, I think they probably clipped into the cave on lap 2. Super Viper has been having problems with their lap 3. It's having to line it up again. Oh, no, they'd actually finished. They could have just driven to the finish line, but decided to jump out of bounds to cross the line in midair. Yeah, so NoHarmony is on emulator. NoHarmony started their race 25 seconds after Super Viper. So both players started their timer at the same time, but NoHarmony sat and wait until they reached 25 seconds before beginning. That's because emulator has about a 25-second advantage due to having no lag. NoHarmony, yes. So NoHarmony doing the right side setup, but doing it with Basically full YOLO, just driving at it, not bothering to stop to line it up. I very much approve of that. It's something I've called other players out for stopping and lining up. So SuperViper stopping to line it up. And they got it, but you see they were quite a few seconds slower than NoHarmony. Again, if people want to line it up and lose a few seconds, if it makes it 100% safe for them, then it's a good choice. But I only know how to YOLO that one. I know NoHarmony got shrooms, so they can do the finish line jump across to the cavern on the other side, hit the wall, trigger the lap that way. A 103 Yoshi Valley, excellent time. SuperViper again, finding the spot after the finish line, lining up a dark line in the wall and the tree to make a V shape. Shrooming at the centre of that V, jumping so they hit the dark line, and when Lakiti puts them down, the lap's finished and over. So only a 7-second loss there for SuperViper, so very much still in the race. So I see people in chat saying it all comes down to Rainbow Road anyhow. Yep, very much so. We've seen Rainbow Road, we've seen people going for the green shell skips and missing them. We've seen, you know, minute-and-a-half losses, 2-minute losses from certain players. NoHarmony getting bolted by the CPU. So the way the CPU use items in this game is kind of different to how players use them. So CPUs can pick up shells, but they'll never use a shell. So if you see a shell on the track, it's because a human player has thrown it. And the last place CPU character has a 1% chance of picking up a lightning with every item box that they collect. Typically, you'd probably expect to see about 1 lightning per cup, maybe somewhere between 0 and 1 lightnings per cup against a human character. But you can see races where somebody can get bolted 7-8 times and it just seems unfair. And a typical bolt will lose you about 4 seconds if it's in a position where you would just normally be driving forward. In a shortcut race, it can lose you a lot more if you get it, say, just before you're about to do a skip and just have to sit there stationary waiting it out. Or in a really bad situation, you could get lightning mid-skip, say on Rainbow Road as you were in the void going for a green shell skip. If you get lightning then, you'll just drop straight down, and basically that entire skip won't have counted. So NoHarmony finishing up their Banshee Boardwalk, had a bit of a scruffy lap one, 148. SuperViper coming around to the end of their Banshee Boardwalk, looks like it's going to be a similar time. SuperViper switched to progress view, so they're looking to see if they can get a heavyweight character ahead of them. There goes Wario. Oh, DK in third, they're going to wait for DK to pass them. So that is going to come in very handy for SuperViper at the start of their Rainbow Road. NoHarmony makes the traditional jump across the gap. Very nicely landed. However, on SuperViper's side, you're going to see something a little bit different. So let's move our attention to the left and see what SuperViper does here. Jumps off the CPU, goes all the way to the spiral, lands on the top of the spiral. Very nice. Probably saves an additional 10 seconds or so. So coming to the end of Rainbow Road, what the players are looking for is green shells. NoHarmony already has a green shell. So for anybody who doesn't know what the green shell does, their SuperViper gets their green shell as well. Basically you can stop, fire a green shell into a specific part of the wall, catch back up to it, hit the green shell such that you get knocked out of bounds, and then you fly out of bounds for ages and cross the finish line. That triggers the lap, and when Lakiti puts you down, he puts you back where you fell off the track, and you essentially lap skip. So NoHarmony missed their first attempt at the green shell. Gets the green shell. We are absolutely neck and neck now. Wow. Both players going for a green shell skip at the same time. SuperViper gets it. NoHarmony gets it. SuperViper has picked up another green shell. NoHarmony didn't, so Super Viper can now go for his second green shell skip. If he makes it, he should win. NoHarmony's got to pick up an item and hope that they get a green shell very quickly. Boo. Oh, the Boo gets a green shell. Super Viper misses their green. NoHarmony, this for the win. This for the win. NoHarmony fires the green. Hits the green, makes the green. Wow. Super Viper going for their green shell. Misses it. That has absolutely confirmed it now. So all NoHarmony has to do is drive up to the finish line, cross the line with a 29.53. Wow. And as we've seen a number of times in this tournament, green shells on Rainbow Road really can be the deciding factor. So a big congratulations there to NoHarmony. They win this must-win match and will progress through to the final 8 knockout bracket. Yeah, so NoHarmony paid their penalty at the beginning, so they started the timer but then didn't start the race to 25 seconds. So this is the final result. Super Viper finishing with a 30.29. A mere, 38? I can't do. I'm not doing math on stream, even if I have a maths degree. It's about 36 seconds difference between the two.
Hello.
And I think, is that NoHarmony I'm joined by here?
No, I'm the other guy.
Super Viper. Wow, what a finish. I don't know if you were watching or saw.
I didn't watch the race, no, but I did see the end result, so looks like it was pretty close.
You were both doing green shells at the same time. I think,
yeah, judging from my best possible time, I probably could have won if I got that first green shell first try.
Yeah. So NoHarmony was ahead of you, missed their first green shell, and then you came around with your green shells. NoHarmony had just picked up another shell.
Yeah, I choked kind of hardcore to those.
You were both pretty much, when you were going for your first green shell skip, NoHarmony was retrying their first one, and they were both happening at exactly the same time, and you both made it. You picked up a second green shell from the item box, and NoHarmony didn't. So if you'd hit that second green shell, you would have won it.
Yeah, not too upset about that though.
It was a great race to watch. It really was. There was a lot of
that was an interesting run for me overall. By the way, I should probably explain what happened on DKJP.
Yeah, lap 3 was a nice way to finish.
So my sister came into my room and started talking to me, and as a result, I got distracted and forgot what lap I was on.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter too much. It only costs a few seconds. I thought you might have just been going for a bit of swag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was
kind of fun to finish the race with the shortcut anyways.
Warrior Stadium, I think you got 38 there. I mean,
overall, this run was pretty solid for me.
As well. Yeah.
Getting a 2 out of 3 on Shaco was definitely a confidence booster as well.
I was wanting to see the third. It's not just that you got 2 out of 3. The first 2 you got was so super clean.
Yeah, I don't usually get the first 2 that cleanly, so that was pretty satisfying to see. And overall, that run wasn't too bad. So even if I lost, I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, it just came down to green shells again, which we've seen in a few
that
races
seems like a good ending to a race. Anyway, so I wish good luck to Harmony for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pleasure having you in here.
No problem. It's been a pleasure being part of the tournament. And looking forward to see how this ends up turning out. Thanks for having me. And GG's to Harmony.
Okay, so congratulations to SuperViperT302, who exits the tournament here. NoHarmony will be advancing. Next match scheduled for the tournament is tomorrow at 6 p.m. US Eastern Time, and that is between Obiu and myself. So I'll be racing tomorrow evening. I believe that's scheduled to have Smurfy and Kyle on the comms. And then the final of the 2-2 play-in races for a final spot in the top 8 is going to be on August the 15th, which I believe is Saturday. It's going to be at 8 a.m. US Eastern between Kazuya and Hattock. But I believe that's going to be it for tonight. I haven't seen anything from Armin to indicate that they're coming. Oh, NoHarmony is in the setup. Let me just see if I can grab him. Okay, just seeing quickly if we can get NoHarmony in on here.
Can you hear me?
We're joined by NoHarmony. NoHarmony, congratulations.
Well, thank you. I'm afraid there's quite a bit of delay in here for me.
Okay, are you listening to the Discord call, or are you listening to the restream?
Let me check. I think both actually. Oh, here I am.
Okay, so I don't know if you were listening to the commentary as you were going or watching SuperViper's stream, but wow, that was a close finish at the end.
Yeah, I guess it was quite a close race, but I didn't watch because it always makes me nervous. So quite surprised in the end that I won.
Yeah, I never watch either at all. I just find out the result at the end. So it was kind of nip and talk a bit back and forth during the race. You went into Rainbow Road with maybe a 15-20 second advantage, but SuperViper did the CPU jump at the start. So after you missed your first green shell
I'm
attempt,
just glad that Wario Stadium worked out after last time.
Yeah. After you missed your first
even
attempt
though
with the green
Calamari
shell,
Desert was a disaster.
Yeah, I didn't see what happened with the tunnel there. Were you going for a blue shell or?
Yeah, well, no, I was shooting the red shells, trying to go over it, but I guess I was a bit too quick, bounced back, and ran into the other red shells, and then I was in there without any red shells and without any luck.
Yeah, I always let go of gas before I hit any of the reds. It seems to help you go over. But yeah, Rainbow Road was a fantastic finish. You were both going for green shell
usually
skips at the same time. You were clutch at the end. You took it with. You both completed your first green shell skip at identical times. So it was basically who can hit the second green shell the quickest, and you kind of you got the boost.
I missed it the first time. I hard skipped a beat there.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't know if it was close, but I knew that could cost me a race.
So as SuperViper went over their first one, they actually got a green shell from the item box, and you didn't. And then you got a boo, and I thought, oh no, it's going to be one of those ones where you can't pick up a green. But your boo instantly stole a green, or got a green.
Yeah, that boo was lucky.
Yeah. It was good execution. It was a very good race to watch, actually. There's a lot of good execution going along. So KD...
Wait to watch it myself right now.
KD put you behind for a while, and then you were playing catch up, and then I think it was at DKJP you took the lead, and you kind of held that lead up until the green shells of Rainbow Road. Where
I had an amazing flower cup. I was surprised myself.
Yeah, SuperViper on their Choco Mountain, they got the first two. The nice big jumps, super clean. I was like, cheering them on for lap 3. I wanted to see a really nice 3 out of 3 clean. Big jump on Choco from them.
Chocolate Mountain, actually, I changed my strategy. I think it was yesterday where I changed it. Because usually I went for the first big jump, but I messed it up so many times that I decided that I would go for the quote-unquote backup two times, because that was way more consistent.
I am exactly the opposite. I can't do the backup. I only go for the big one, and if I don't get it, I drive around. I don't know. I just can't do that backup jump. It just doesn't. And then if I mess around trying to do it, and then all of a sudden an invincible Bowser comes ploughing through, smashes me off the track, and too many bad experiences on Choco Mountain.
Yeah, I mean, apart from Toad's Turnpike and Wario Stadium, if I fail once or twice, I just go the other way.
But yeah, congratulations. That means you qualify through to the final 8.
Thank you.
I'm not sure whether you're going to be 6th, 7th, or 8th seed. Haven't really looked at the fastest times, and we still need to figure out who the other 2 people making it through the 2 and 2s are as well. But I think
I'm curious. I had some interesting opponents so far.
How does your time stack up to the other 2 and 2 players? So SuperViper was the fastest, but they're out.
What do you mean?
So the decider of who's going to be 6, 7, and 8 seed will go down to the fastest times of races done between the 3 players who are at 2 and 2. So Kazuya has a 29.45. So if Kazuya wins, they'll go through as number 6 seed. You have a 29.53 from that race. That's your fastest race so far. So if Kazuya loses, you have a chance of being the number 6 seed. Otherwise, it's probably the number 7 seed. And I think being the number 6 seed would be a good thing to get, because it means you avoid Alvin and Matthias. But I think we're going to wrap it up now. Again, congratulations.
Oh, well.
Just like to remind everybody in chat to give the 2 runners a follow. I'm sure we've got a command I can slide in there. #R. You got SuperViperT302 and NoHarmony 1711. If you want to know a little bit more about the competition, you've got a link to the bracket, the schedule, and the Discord there. And if you want to see more, tune in tomorrow at 6 PM US Eastern for the next 2 and 2 matchup between Abiyu and Danger Mole, myself. Until then, it's good night from me.